It's Podraza. I'm not making any of this up. This is the most gruesome analysis, period, and what I've done anyway, because of Phil kept saying Josie, and then one day he said Joel's, and then he was his half brother. There are more than three wives stashed in the woods. I felt he was sent in to knock me off in the first place, and it was hard getting out of there. That's part of it. That's why I asked for a second marriage on this thing. It was some reference to Lavoie and Gray that Pryor met with his wife, and he took him on and her as part of his team there. And then it was that somebody was murdered, and I had nightmares over him having sex with me and there being a child that he would not accept. Lavoie. I don't know what I was being fed either, but I read that I had a busted spleen. And all I know is there were green stools continually, and I wasn't eating spinach or anything, or anything like that, kale. I completely thought through what I was eating, and I got out of there and finally felt better out of those headaches. This is the worst analysis you can go through regarding this mess. I didn't know whether Lavoie had a sperm bank. They all had his nose, and they were all blondes with children. All blondes. This whole thing is a nightmare on blondes. In the end, I never knew the situation. First, he said he had missed his wife. Understandable that he didn't want to mate with anybody. And then he changed identities on this. I learned to trust him on it, as if he had cracked along the way, and I went through it with him on that. I'm not quite sure on that situation because of what I dealt with in Gray. 2 police came at 12 midnight, and I had to shovel out a vehicle at 12 midnight with those horrific headaches that I had there only. They left me out of there when I got out of that place. However, my mother loved the apartment. She also loved that apartment in Naples, which she had learned to enjoy on that sections, and she loved it here. There's 3 regions that she did not put out of the picture. Part of Naples, I did well in Raymond. And part, forget the dentist there, that's another story. I'm lucky I survived it. That apartment, and I was not trying to manipulate them. She loved the peace there. She loved the street. It was almost a residential region. Now, that comforted her there. I had the door and all of these crazy things. But I'm going to tell you, I don't know who he was in the end. But he started analysis-wise with me, always in the head when I went to the movies. He would be out there and we'd do analysis after I analyzed the movie. And I don't know what to say. I thought both of them were psychiatrists. That's the irony of it. Originally he said they had fought like cats and dogs. Night and day, different philosophies. So I stayed with him. Then he said, once you want to live with us, I didn't know him well enough. Who was the us? A dog or what? You see, it was an evolution that was very difficult for me in terms of analysis. And then I got afraid. And that's all I understand. Manipulation is not my game. I am straightforward. And I can deal with concepts. I prefer it that way. I do analysis to heal myself. It calms me. I crave it, and I must have it. It cognitively also. It's Pat again. I don't want you to ever think I dock somebody on a learning. That's a trait of mine. I don't. And I know I don't have the credentials, but that is a gift. Now I've got to ask you, is he going to initiate the phone call? That text me if you have time, because I don't run my mail. And there's no way. That boy has to be healed here in some fashion, delightful with his family. I'm delighted he has a son and he has a wife. I want him included. And that daughter has to be addressed that she's a fighter. And I know my little Spitfire, I called her, is a fighter. And Dennis would know that very well. She fights like you can't even fathom. And I don't know what condition she's in now, but she fights. And it's going to have to be logical, and it's going to have to be sound. And I want her fine also. I showed that picture on the wall. It's a very good one of her and Dennis. She looks healthy there, for sure. I need to know who initiates the phone call, because I don't run my man. And that's where this is at. You have a good evening. Thank you for the truth. I'm not trying to diminish. I don't do that. But when I fight for somebody, I fight for him. And I don't know what the heck went on with that Yentl. I do not know. Originally, he was supposed to be his brother. Originally, and he's remember, you're not dealing with stupidity. He was supposed to be Lavoie's brother. He was the good brother, he said. They fought profusely. They were opposite philosophies. Now the whole thing was messed up anyway in Gray after my analysis of Hannibal Lecter and the Chilton stuff and what I was run through. But not all the congregation hated me there, and I don't know the reason. But that was bad news there, because I had to leave. He faced me. Am I on medication? He asked me to leave the parish. He was duplicitude. There was time he had eyelashes that were Vaseline, and he looked like a beautiful eyes, female, and then there was a times when he wasn't. He dealt in two arenas of behavior, and I felt he was sexual. Good morning. I hope you are not any kind of manipulation. I'm serious on this. It got worse tonight. You have an email, and I am for that mail. That's the end of their burying me underground. I don't want to hear that bush ever again. And I have what my grandmother knew, which is how old? The terminology. And they kept calling me ignorant. I'm going to tell you, I do not want a thing to do with the Lavoies in this community at all. They were nothing but a problem to me. And that is where this is at. A Lavoie ran that restaurant up the street, went into diet food and crummy food. We didn't like it. I didn't even like it. They were hung up on that diet stuff. Anyway, one has to work with that food. And I can and will do situations on that. I am not interested in that Lavoie. And that Ruby Tuesdays, it was run by a Lavoie, and it stunk as a restaurant. And they fought me literally out loud, and they're welcome to not run it again. And I'm going to tell you, that is where this is at. I don't want them in this community bothering me at all. You have that email, very important. They slaughtered worse than ever. I don't want to hear about it. And I don't want to hear. Poland Springs used to have good water. I don't know what happened to them. But in any event, I get my water and I get it at Walmart. Now that boy is going to be resurrected here with me, and that is what has to be done. Now anything else is literally frosting on the cake and understandable, but this is going to stop. That darn phone has to be straightened out. Whoever fixed the heat A++, and ask the Lord to bless him and his family, like you don't know. It was never fixed for I don't know how long. I baked in here. I felt I baked with Satan down under the ground. I don't want to be thought to that ever again. Let's never physically weld